But we don't have an intro. We should how should we intro this show?
Let's do the I'm Dan, I'm Mo, let's go.
All
Is that
right.
what we do?
Yeah, maybe we should do that.
Go ahead.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Dan. See, it takes too much. I'm
Why
just-
did you have to switch up like that? Why could you
Because
just say,
it's my
"I'm Dan"?
YouTube. That's my
All
YouTube
right,
voice.
do your
That's a social media voice.
Do your YouTube voice. I'll
Yeah.
do my YouTube voice.
Because this is the thing. When you speak into the camera, you have to like hype it up so that you can convey the emotion.
Of course.
That's why you see all the YouTubers like, "Hi, how are you? No, subscribe and all that shit."
Yeah, I'm not doing that. But I'll do my YouTube voice, my version.
Yeah. But anyways, hello everybody. I'm Dan,
And I'm Mo.
and welcome to Latiniced.
There you go.
Yeah.
Don't do the finger guns though. Don't do that. Don't. Hope your students see this. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So welcome to another episode of Latiniced, the show where we are trying to figure out whether we are getting Icelandified or if we are Latinizing Iceland.
Yes, sir.
So, ¿qué lo que?
¿Qué lo que?
How's it going? How have you been?
It's been great.
Yeah.
Been great. We have a karaoke of the week to talk about.
Yeah. It's mainly your ¿qué lo que? It's your area of expertise.
Yeah. So karaoke is when we talk about something fresh that happened or something that's been going on since the last time we saw each other. And the thing that's been taking away all of my time is the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. Are you aware? of
Yeah.
You're aware.
I've seen it on TikTok. The 30-second explainers and the
So you've seen 30 seconds of explanations. from
I
this.
mean more than 30 seconds, but like there's people out there who explain the things to us mortals. But there was a song that Kendrick Lamar said, "Fuck the big three, it's just big me."
Yeah.
And then the
And
other
that was an answer to a song that J. Cole and Drake made, in which J. Cole said that they were the big three with Kendrick.
Yeah,
So Kendrick was not in that song.
Yeah.
But he later released a song that you're mentioning now.
Yeah. So that's where I understand that beef started.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. So Kendrick and Drake have been sneak dissing, as they say, for about over 10 years now. Turns out the last time they were cool with each other was probably around 2010 or 2009 when Drake was already very famous and Kendrick was coming up. So Drake gave him a feature in his album that got really well. But after that, there have been sneak dissing back and forth for 10 years, but never mentioning each other by name.
Like when people make tweets without actually tagging other people.
Exactly. For 10 years. For over 10
Christ.
years. We're talking about the fact that, like, in 2013, Kendrick released one verse in a song that he was featured on called Control, in which he mentioned pretty much everybody in the rap game. This was in 2013, saying, I have respect for you guys, but I want to murder all of you. I want to beat you all. I want your fans never to have heard of you. I want to just be, I'm number one and that's it. And he mentions Drake and a bunch of other people by name.
Yeah.
Everybody else that he mentioned was cool with the verse and said, oh, that's just competitive nature. That's just him being flattering that he mentioned us and blah, blah, blah. But Drake was the only one that was actually pissed off about it.
Is it like roasting people in comedy, but then you take the roast seriously?
Yeah. I mean, I heard the verse when it came out. It's pretty much just him saying what I said. I want your fans to just forget about you and just think about me because I'm that good. He's basically saying I'm the best. But that's what rap is. That's what hip hop is. You're always supposed to say you're the best. But Drake took it as like, oh, you're trying to get clicks by mentioning my name, mentioning all of our names, trying to get some hype. But you're not really about that. You're not really going to do anything about it. You're just trying to get people to talk about you.
See, I'm already biased against Drake. Because like
A lot of people are biased.
Because like
against Drake.
you should know when to take like shade or a joke or some like competitive like this is not gonna do anything wrong for your career. And if it does, it's because you're not that good.
I agree 100%. Like Drake took it as, and I'm not assuming this, by the way. He's said this publicly in like interviews and shit. He took it as like, oh, he's the up and comer, and he's trying to like condescending, like patronizing Kendrick, just being like, "Oh, yo, like it's cute what he's doing, but I'm number one," which is very petty and very, but whatever. In the song that Drake and J. Cole did, fast forward to today,
Is it like first person shooter?
first person shooter.
I know my shit. I know my shit.
J. Cole says that the big three, the three of them, and that's been my opinion for years. Like I've thought always that they're the top three in the game. And then months later, Kendrick comes on a song on a feature, and he says, "Fuck the big three, it's
Just
only
big
big
me."
me,"
Yeah.
and says a bunch of other stuff, but basically talking about throwing shade at Drake, more so than J. Cole.
And the other thing that I know is that J. Cole just bowed out of all this thing.
Yeah. So
he was like, you know what, I'm cool.
Yeah,
And he was
like,
like, I don't want this.
J. Cole released a song dissing Kendrick, and then a couple days later apologized.
Yeah.
But the point of what I'm trying to say, so we can go through the story, because I'm not going to make it all about this. If my girlfriend is watching, she would be embarrassed right now. Drake released a diss track answering him, just going like, "Oh, you want to go at it? Let's go." And for the first time, the diss tracks that we were waiting for 10 years started coming out, right? And the first 4 tracks, 2 and 2 from each other, were actually just, all right, like, let's go, like, fine.
Yeah, they were going at it.
And then one evening, just in one night, it all went to hell. It got really, really weird. So Drake released a song in which he started saying that Kendrick's fiance, not only is she fucking Kendrick's best friend, but also got beat up by Kendrick. That's in a gist. That's the biggest accusations that he did in his first song. But it was a very good song. It's probably the best diss track in the whole fucking beef and the whole thing.
Yeah.
But right after, half an hour after Drake released this bomb talking about how Kendrick is beating his wife, fiance, sorry, how he hasn't married her and they've been engaged since 2015.
Yeah.
How
She
she's
have a baby, but it's not. That apparently it's
your
not
baby's
him.
not yours
Yeah.
because she's having sex with your best friend and blah, blah, blah. Half an hour later, Kendrick Lamar takes away all of the hype, all of the momentum from Drake by releasing a song called "Meet the Grams."
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that. The title of the song, not the entire song. It's like 30 minutes after, wasn't it?
30 minutes after. But here's the thing. This song has 3 verses. No, 4. 4 verses. In the first verse, Kendrick, is addressing directly Drake's son. Telling him how his dad ain't shit. Just listen to me because your daddy didn't teach you shit, and I'm going to show you how the world works. And your daddy got pissed on and never did anything. And blah, all sorts of shit, talking to his son directly. The second verse, he's talking to Drake's mom and dad. And he calls him a pedophile, a psychopath, that he should die, that he and Epstein should rot in hell. Talking to his mother, his mama. And the third verse, he's addressing Drake's daughter that nobody knows about. And apparently Drake says that that's not true. It's information that he fed Kendrick, but it wasn't true. But the third verse is him addressing Drake's daughter, saying your daddy hasn't been there for you. He wants to be drugged out, doing parties in Turks and Caicos instead of taking care of you. And in the fourth verse, he's addressing Drake. And he just tells him like how you're sick, you're blah, all just got really, really dark. And then a couple of hours later, he released another one, which is like a club song that is being played all over the United States of America right now, in basketball games, in the playoffs, in like between commercials at a TV show. Like, it's just, it got number 1. And talking about how Drake is a how Drake tries to have sex with underage girls and he keeps in his crowd.
Yeah.
Then Drake released another one saying that this was all bullshit, but didn't look very well, and nobody's heard from them since.
Yeah. Other people in the rap game have been like messing with Drake. There's like this part where Drake was like, Metro,
shut your whole ass up
and make some drums.
Yeah.
And then Metro Booming came up with this
Baby,
thing.
oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that's been viral everywhere.
That's the thing. Like Drake, when he released his song, the one that I told you that was the best one, called Family Matters, he's actually going at Kendrick as he's fighting other guys too, because he's addressing every single person that's been talking shit about him. He talks about A$AP Rocky, Future, like all these guys that were, Rick Ross, that were talking shit about him, and he just as well went to Kendrick. Bro, the art for the last one that Kendrick released, the one that I told you that became viral,
Yeah.
is a picture of Drake's house on a Predator app. And the house, over the house, is like 20 arrows of predators in the house. Because he's saying you and your crew are all pedophiles.
There's like two things that I can say from this. First, straight men, please. Like, please. Sometimes you just have to shut up
Yeah, man.
and not let your ego dominate you.
Ego. Ego is a killer, bro.
Yeah.
That's the word right there.
And also, if you know where you stand, both professionally and musically and otherwise, I would not let this affect me. I'm gonna draw an example of my trauma.
Your trauma.
Of my trauma, yes. Because I have a point. I remember, back when Chavez was alive. This is where the trauma comes.
Jesus Christ.
And he would
25 years ago.
he would have like a Sunday talk show, like where he would address the nation.
I've seen clips of this.
Yeah, it's called Allo Presidente.
Aló presidente.
Yeah, people would call.
That's some propaganda shit right there.
Yeah, like this is a format that Chavez made that all of the weird Latin American quasi dictators have been modeling because it keeps them close to the people. He said something as if to say that he was not worried about what the Venezuelan opposition was going to do because he was still going to win elections. He said something about like águila no caza mosca, and which I think fits. Eagles don't hunt for flies. If Drake would have known that, he would have shut up, and this whole mess wouldn't have gone out of proportion. Like not responding is also a form of response.
I agree with what you're saying, but I feel like the main issue here is awareness.
Yeah.
I don't think you get to be, which is a bit of a contradiction, but I don't think you get to be Drake without having awareness. Just like I don't think you can be a good comedian without having awareness, just knowing when you're funny, when you're not funny, knowing when you're for Drake is knowing what's cool and what's not cool.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like he did have lack of awareness when he decided to pick a fight with Kendrick Lamar for no apparent reason other than ego. Like you said, if there was actually some real differences that you had with this man, by all means, go ahead and do what you got to do. But like, just because people are talking about him being better than you, which lyrically, honestly, I'm one of the biggest Drake fans out there. It ain't even close. He doesn't have a chance against Kendrick when it comes to lyrics.
Kendrick has a fucking Pulitzer.
I mean, and Kendrick, like, dude, I listened to, like, I'm not, like, I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan, but sometimes I can admit that sometimes his songs put me off a little bit, just the style of it. But I heard a whole podcast about dissecting Good Kid, Mad City, which is an album that won him 13, 14 different Grammys and shit like that. And it was going through the whole album, song by song, dissecting the song for an hour. Bro, this dude did a whole album of 18 songs or something as a story that was connected track, through poetry, through metaphor, and kept on connecting things from one to the next. Like, there's tracks that happen every 3 songs that were just a part of the final track. He would just release a little bit, and it was a conversation between him and Tupac. Taking Tupac from an interview and putting it with his voice. It was just one of the deepest albums ever released, ever.
It's a conceptual album.
Yeah, it's something like, Drake is not even close to that. Drake is about going to the club and getting a cool car and having drinks and going on a yacht. Like, bro.
And that's also valid. Like, know your lane. That's another thing.
Bro.
Know your lane and stay in it. All of this would have been avoided if they would just make out.
What?
Yeah. But maybe just like make out. Oh, Kendrick. Oh.
I can see you zooming in on that on Instagram. And then my face. God damn it. Just fell right into that.
The topic of today.
Okay.
Which is parents and parenting.
Yeah.
It's like by the time we're filming this, it's Mother's Day, like internationally speaking. I don't know. like the second Sunday of May. Some countries, Iceland and Venezuela, celebrate Mother's Day.
Not for me.
Yeah, I learned that just now. I
Mine is the
think
last Sunday.
Argentina also celebrates it like later in the year because it's summer or something like that, like summer or 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 it's tied with spring. I don't remember very well. And you mentioned that you're gonna have your parents coming up
Yeah.
soon
Next
to
week.
Iceland.
Next week.
How long are they gonna be here?
3 days. 4 days.
4 days.
Yeah.
Are they going somewhere else?
They are somewhere else. They've been going on a riverboat with 100 other Dominicans around Germany.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So they're gonna end up flying to Brussels in a couple of days, or getting to Brussels in a couple of days with the boat as well, and then flying to Iceland
before going back.
before going back to Dominican
Oh,
Republic.
but that's nice.
So they've been already out for like a week, and they'll have 2 more weeks or something like that.
All right. So I think it's the perfect time because I mean we don't really have this episode is not gonna come out around Mother's Day, but we can still talk about like parents and our parents, Latino parents, or versus Icelandic parents.
Yeah.
But before that, I got another rum
I
bottle
forgot mine.
because let it be known that Mauricio forgot it.
I forgot.
So my cheap ass pouring of last episode, I feel it's justified.
That was cheap ass. That was cheap ass. But yeah, I messed up.
I feel it's justified.
Yeah.
It's a Venezuelan rum called Diplomatico.
That's pretty famous here in Iceland.
Pretty famous. Really good. It's best drunk neat. Like you don't.
All
It-
good rum is best rum.
Yeah. If you buy, I'm gonna say this for you foreigners out there. If you buy Diplomatico and you dilute it with Coke, I will personally go to your place and take the bottle away from you because you don't deserve it.
That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna take the bottle. That's the. I'm gonna go to your house. I'm gonna trespass, break into your home to take the bottle away from you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It has a cork, so it's it's good shit. All right. Cheers.
Cheers. Cristo Redentor.
So
That's lovely. Lovely.
it's really good.
Lovely.
It's really good.
Don't know if that came out. If it was obvious by my
Yeah,
reaction.
Cristo Redentor initially what sounded like frustration.
No, it's
Nice.
nice. So yeah, parenting.
Parenting. My mom came here almost 2 years ago
Yeah.
to Iceland for my graduation and my master's. She was here for a month. And I loved having her here.
But
But she was here for a month. And she knew that. And she's probably looking at this. And hopefully she's laughing.
I'm laughing because I've had my mom here for a month, so I know it can be challenging. But my mom knows that it's not something she's gonna find out by looking at this video. Like while she's here, we fucking bump heads.
Me and my mom, when she was here, we butt heads sometimes.
Because
But
you're
it-
a very bad son. Sorry, keep going.
For example, at that time I didn't have a car. When my mom came, like, she met El Chamito. And that's how I call him. She met El Chamito and it was fine, but I didn't have a car back then. So like all of the sightseeing that we did was mostly in buses. And when El Chamito had free time, we would go like do the more touristy things outside of town.
Okay.
There was this thing when we were on the bus, and I'm like, wait for the bus to stop fully because bus drivers here are
Gangsters.
they drive as if
Gangsters.
yeah, basically they drive like as if they're defending themselves.
Yeah.
She would just get up at one point and you would see her like a flag. Just like- and I kept telling her, Mom, you might hurt yourself if you do this. Like wait until the bus stops completely because bus drivers here can be a little bit gangster in their driving. And one day I was like lecturing her about that. She told me this. Like, this is why you brought me here. To get revenge of all the times that I've called you. And I'm like, this is not about fucking revenge. And she
That's
just
such a mom thing to say.
para eso me trajiste tú acá. para vengarte. Y yo, this is not about revenge. This is about you not landing in the hospital.
My mom came here for like a month or maybe more. I don't remember when my kids were born. And almost every day, she would say the same thing to me. Pero aquí la sal no sala. The salt doesn't salt here
It's
in
not
Iceland.
salty.
And she just kept asking, but what's up with the salt? Like, what is it with the... After 4 or 5 days, she said, Mom, I don't know what it is with the salt. Just leave me alone. Oh, I can't talk to you. I can't ask you anything. Look at you. And the next day, but what is it with the salt? Why isn't the salt salt? It was,
Pero no se te puede hablar, no se te puede
no,
decir nada.
no te puedo decir nada. A ti no te puedo decir nada. Oh, God.
See, it was things like that. These were the things that made us like butt heads because I was like, it's like now you're the adult, and you for example, me living in Iceland, I know how
You know how the world
things
works now. Yeah.
this part of the world
Yeah,
works,
yeah.
and I'm trying to tell you things so that you don't get hurt.
Yeah.
And then it's like, ahora sí.
Yeah.
Ahora es tu tiempo de venir a
This is
decirme
what
a mí
this-
que es lo que
yeah.
vamos. Que es
Oh,
lo-
you must be very rejoicing right now.
Yeah,
get
you
to-
must be-
You get
you-
to put me in my place.
It's like, no, this is not about this. There's this stereotype of Latino mothers with la chancla. My mom was always more like, the sit down kind of parent. My mom never hit me.
Well, I had it. It was-
You had la chancla.
La chancla, la correa, el palo, lo que sea.
The threatening element in my house was la paleta.
La paleta.
La paleta. It was like a wooden spoon of sorts.
Ooh.
But it was never used. It was never enforced.
Oh,
But when I was a kid, my mom said, "Tú vas a sacar la paleta, vas a ver.
bruh.
I'm gonna take la paleta out, and you will see." And I was like, I would prefer not to see, so I would just like. My mom never hit me, except for that one time.
Except for that's always what the people that never got hit always say.
Except for
for that one
that
time,
But
I said something I shouldn't have said.
In retrospective,
What'd you say?
it's like it was basic. It was the emotional tools that my mom had available at that point because I was like, I was not 7. I'm just saying like I was still in like kindergarten age.
Yeah.
So we were living in an apartment building on a 9th floor of an apartment building that is close to a very like a main avenue in Maracaibo.
Okay.
So it was like very populated and there was a lot of things going on. And I just left the apartment and went up to play with my kid friends that was 2 floors above and didn't say anybody. I just went up there and was playing with my friend Roberto. And I was there for like 2-3 hours. Like Roberto's mom
I think you told me this story before.
let me in and we were playing. And
Oof.
I cannot imagine what my mom was thinking because we were living on a 9th floor.
That's the thing.
And I was missing for about 3 hours. So when my mom thought of like checking upstairs at Roberto's house, and I was just very like casually playing, I didn't know what was gonna happen next because when I got home, I got what I deserved.
What did you get?
I got like
La paleta.
no, I think it was la correata.
That's a correa.
So
offense. That's a belt offense right there, straight
Yeah.
up.
Looking back, I think I cannot describe the types of emotions that my mom was thinking
that's
or
what I'm
was
saying.
overthinking. So like her way of like there was not like I'm gonna sit down with you and talk about what you
But
did was wrong.
that's what I'm
So
trying to tell you. For people that got, like me, for example, grew up getting the belt regularly, you have to understand that the more worry your parents get, the more scared your parents get, the worse the beating is going to be. It's directly proportional. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if your offense is like you disappeared, they didn't know about you, they didn't know where to even to go, where to start, because you didn't say, and you're not at the age of being able to say. Like, my mom and dad would have, like, they would have been so happy to have me alive just to kill me. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you a story to explain, in my opinion, the huge difference between my parents' generation and my generation, or at least my parents and me.
Yeah.
My mother, I don't hit my kids. I don't beat my kids. I don't even. When my kids, they're twins. When they were 1.5 years old, they were on their little seats, the high seats, eating. You know, I was feeding them both, and my son clocked my daughter. He just went like, boom! A 1 year old just smacked her, and I grabbed his hand and I went like, don't do that. And the second I did that, I was just like, that's the most stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm telling him not to hit her
By hitting
by
him.
hitting him.
Yeah, makes no
And it
sense.
kind of just hit me in the head, like, what the hell are you doing? And it was just a tap. So
Yeah.
I don't hit my kids. When I was a kid getting beat up, I remember being a kid getting beat up and thinking like, this is not the answer. This is not what you're supposed to do. Like, this is not the way to go. But I was talking to my mother some months ago, and she told me that she was telling me about a story of when my younger brother was very young. They were at the supermarket, and I don't remember what my little brother did. If he took something that he wasn't supposed to, if he said something. I think he took something like he stole something or without realizing. But he was a very small kid. That at that time she decided, okay, I need to traumatize this kid now. I'm gonna slap him in the middle of the supermarket so that he remembers this for the rest of his life and he never dares to steal anything or take anything he's not supposed to ever again. When my mom said that to me, I was just like, I understand where you come from, but that's some cold,
Like,
cold shit right there. And it also made me remember stuff that they did to me, which was probably the same kind of thinking. Like, I remember coming home one day with a watch. I was at school. I was 5, 6. One of my friends was like, "Oh, I like this. I'll give you my watch if you give me this or whatever the hell." And I came home with a watch that wasn't mine, and they slapped the shit out of me just so I wouldn't ever take something that wasn't mine. And it's after having my kids that I realized that my parents, just like I am, were making it up as they went.
like it's different than like psychological
Yeah,
tools.
like
Like,
when I grew up thinking my parents were like an institution, like they knew everything. What they said is the truth. What to say, and now I realize they were just making it up as they went, trying to figure it out. So this whole let me traumatize the kid by slapping him in the middle of the supermarket.
that's a choice.
That's a choice.
That was an approach that your mom took, but that approach is mostly illegal now.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
A
an
choice that
idea.
she took straight up. It was just like that's just not how it works for me. But I do understand
Mostly,
her logic
yeah.
though, because especially now that I have 4-year-old kids that are about to turn 5, they should get slapped from time. I'm never gonna do it. I'm never gonna do it.
But mostly because
But God damn it, they should. But I will tell you this about parenting today. My kids are 4, and I don't remember. I do not remember one point in my life where I've had the amount of power they have. Like when I was growing up, like I just told you, my parents were the bosses. Like they were the fucking Catholic Church, an institution. And then I got my kids, and now they're the bosses. So I feel like I got skipped on at one point. I never became the boss. Like
yeah,
my kids straight up, like today, I had him today, and just
where
like,
was the transition of power?
yeah, yeah, like how did I get skipped on? Like all of a sudden, like I was waiting to be the boss, and now it's just like 4-year-olds are telling me no. I'm like,
And they say no with this like authoritative like
bitch.
no, like they've gotten
My
they
my
gotten the tone like no.
my son and daughter, it's like if you tell them don't do this, and this is the thing, it's the most primitive, like natural thing for a 4-year-old to just be. If this is not what they want to do, they do not understand that they can't do it. Doesn't matter if it is crossing the street or if whatever. It's like if you tell them don't do something and they don't want to listen to you, they don't. They just don't. And now you're arguing with a 4-year-old. Mm-hmm. Now you're like, don't. You can't do that. Why? I want to do it. I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Like, this is the point where I'm sure I don't remember being 4, probably from all the concussions, all the beat ups. But like, I would have been the taste would have been slapped out of my mouth. Is what I'm saying. If I would have been like, no, I'm fucking doing what I want to do. Oh.
Like I am inching into 40, and I don't say no in the same nerve as 4-year-old kids say to their parents these days.
Yeah.
I don't say no like that to my mom. My mom has this ability that she looks at me in one way, and I edit myself. Like, because I know that I'm about to say something pointy. I will say it, but it will be less pointy because of the way my mom looks. She'd be like,
Bitch, what you about to say?
yeah, you better type your words
Yeah, you better
into your
watch out
head.
what you're gonna say to me. Yeah.
You better type your words into your head, organize your thoughts,
Nah.
and say them. My mom was always more like, the sit down kind of talk parent, and and she would enforce like uh, the normal like groundings, like you don't have like cannot go out, cannot do this, like you take away things,
Must be nice.
privileges and stuff. I saw my mom getting more lenient with the times with the approach of raising my other
Yeah, that
siblings.
happened with
And I'm
my
like,
yeah.
I would be grounded for a month for something. And then for the same thing that my siblings would do, I was like, oh, this is a month of grounding.
Yeah.
My mom's like, a week. And 2 days after, my sister would be like, Mom, can I go to this burning with like Stephanie? And like, yeah, yeah, you can go, whatever. I'm like, didn't you say a week? What about holding the promises?
Yeah.
What's with like holding like times?
I would say the same thing happened with my little brother. Like my parents, they've also told me this straight up that it got to a point where when I was already a teenager, or entering teenager years, that it was out of fashion to beat up your kids. It wasn't cool anymore. So they pretty much stopped to do it. They went to this conference. I remember her telling me this. They went to this conference where this lady sat down like hundreds and hundreds of people in a huge conference and said, if you stop beating your kids today, they might be okay in the long run. And like my mom and dad like left that conference and went like, yo, we gotta change. And that was along when my younger brother got very little of it, but he was also a very good kid too. He was like valedictorian at his school and stuff like that. So it's like he did get in trouble later, but that's for another day,
Yeah.
another topic.
I mean, yeah, I got in trouble. All the troubles that I've gotten into have been as an adult, not as a kid.
Me as a kid, I was a pain in the ass.
I was not a pain in the ass as a kid. My brother, like the middle one, was a little bit more of a pain in the ass. But still, he wasn't that big of a pain in the ass. Like still, even to this day.
Middle child?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're misunderstood.
Yeah.
That's what happened. I feel like I'm painted in a worse light than I actually was. I wasn't that bad of a kid, but I had a smart mouth.
My mom's parenting style was more like, and I see that now as an adult, like she had like 3 settings about the kid that she's talking to or interacting with. It's like she knew how to parent me. Like she had techniques for me that were not the same for my brother or for my sister. Like, and I never heard like, look at your brother or look at your sister. They are like in this point in life.
Sounds like your mom's pretty cool.
She
And you should be a lot nicer to her, is what I think.
maybe should
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that my mom was like that because I know and I have seen how my grandma would parent my mom. And I know that my mom was like
Toxic?
yeah.
Yeah.
I know that my mom
She
was
cut the line, yeah.
I know that my mom was like the course ends with me.
Yeah.
Like my mom was always criticized about her weight because my grandma is a person that thinks that Miss Venezuelas are like the pinnacle of like evolution. Yeah. And like if you're not like a Miss Venezuela, like 1960, 90 and all that, you are not valued as much. And like me having a beard, for example, would be scandalous because you look like a por diosero, you look like a hobo, like and this beard, it's not like so. And my
And
mom,
you do.
because I'm on a teacher salary, but nevertheless, my mom was always like criticized about the way she looked and about her weight and all of that, and even though I went through my emo phase, even though my brother went through his Wisin y Yandel era,
Hey.
with like the
Salte!
W con
Si no estás hablando con ella, salte.
Y. ¡Yandel!
That was good. That was
Yeah.
good.
That's the sound bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Even though like we all have like our
Yeah,
different
yeah.
like faces to find our identities, she never once told us like, ah, but you look like a maricon with this, or but you look like this with that, or no. She was like, this is how they are. But like my grandma, as soon as we would go there, like in Venezuela we say bendición instead of like hello, we say bendición. Even before I could utter the words bendición, my grandma would be like, pero si estás gordo, pero Dios mío,
Yeah.
pero no sé qué, pero pareces un marico con esa ropa. Just, we haven't seen each other for about a year. Like, how about we catch up?
Yeah.
Like, I know my mom was like, the curse ends here.
Yeah.
And I think that's why she parented us the way she did.
Yeah.
And that was probably very hard because she didn't know any more than analyzing your kids for everything they would do or say. Like she didn't know
And
that.
that's why I'm surprised with your mom, because she's the same generation as my dad, my parents, and I feel like everybody in my parents' generation, they were more focused on having, and I don't mean this as disrespect, but like compared to now, I feel like the focus was having minions, having little copies of themselves that did what they wanted them to do.
Yeah.
And at least for me, my focus now, I feel like my kids already have their personalities, even though they're very young. And what I want to do is just make them flourish in their personalities and help them become a better version of themselves instead of me shaping what they are. Like, of course, I want to give them, like, I want to put them in sports and I want to put them in music and I want to do this and that, but
they're their own people.
But they're their own people, and I want them to be their own people and have their personalities and like, because like you went through your emo phase, you did all the things you had to do, and then you're here and you're good, and you have the tools to deal with life. You've been living abroad by yourself, doing what you got to do, like way ahead of a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? So like, she did the right thing, I would say. Muy bien, Marjorie. You're a legend, Marjorie.
Yes. And what's your mom's name?
Persia Villavizar
Persia Villavizar.
Vázquez. La princesa Persia.
Persia, you did a good job. Lo hizo bien también. Vamos.
Wow. That was, I would have preferred you didn't say anything. My mom and dad are great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Persia Villavizar.
Y Tomás Rodriguez. No, but to go back to my kids, I want my kids to be prepared to deal with different facets of life. And one of the facets of life is not being pushed over or walked over or humiliated.
Yeah.
So I want them to have empathy. I want them to be good people, and hopefully I'll raise them to be so. But good people, like, this is what I say all the time. Doesn't matter if you're Catholic or not. If you pick up the Bible as even a storybook and you read the Bible, you'll notice there's a story about Jesus Christ losing his shit on people.
Yeah.
And screaming at them because they, and putting, like, even Jesus Christ himself lost his mind when he got pissed off.
Even Björk
And there's no part in the Bible where he apologizes after. He goes like, "Oh, my bad. I lost it. I'm sorry." No, bro.
Björk did it at the airport back in Bangkok that time. When that was
I talk about Jesus and he thinks about Bjork.
the same.
Wow.
You
Your mom is gonna see this.
She knows.
Okay. Yeah.
She knows.
So what did she do in Bangkok?
She was coming into Bangkok with his son, with her son back then. Was really young at that time, and there was this allegedly journalist that had been following her for like different countries, and also trying to like get the little kid to talk like on an interview, and then she saw the journalist, and she can like, "Hi Björk, welcome to Bangkok," and she just like threw the cart where she was pushing her luggage and jumped at her.
Damn, Bjork. Didn't know you had it in you.
Yeah, Björk's not playing around.
God damn.
That's why I wouldn't even like get close to her. I would just turn around, do like this, do like that. I was like, oh my gosh. When my mom came here, we went to Westerweiler.
And you saw Bjork.
And we saw Björk. We were in the hot tub, like the communal one, not the little ones. We were sitting there, and then I looked over, Like 2 meters away from us, there's Björk talking to somebody else. I told my mom, Mama, that person over there is Björk, the Björk. Don't
Don't embarrass me, Mom.
no, like don't make sudden movements. and she was like,
What are you, a safari or some shit? Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I said-
Marjorie, por Dios, por Dios.
and then like she was like, I'm gonna go talk to her. Like, Mom, don't. I'm just gonna go like ask her for like what time is it or something. I don't know. I'm like, no, do not.
Straight up for you. That's a good mom. That's a good mom.
And I was like, do not,
That's
do
a
not.
good mom. I'm just going to go talk to her.
We do not talk to Björk. It's in the Constitution.
Oh, I can see her going up like, so my son is actually a huge fan of yours.
I would have changed countries. I would have gone to Youth Lending Gastopping and be like, here's my residence permit.
I don't want it anymore.
We had a great run. So, all right. Thanks for listening and watching this episode. Cheers.
Por las que vienen, por las que van,
Finally.
por las que nos hacen venir. Amén.
So, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Latinized.
Peace.